Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Alicia. In two of my most recent videos, I shared different parts of my Ford EcoSport recall journey, and throughout this experience, I have seen the hand of God. Well friends, there is another part of my journey I want to share with you. And let me tell you, this has been quite an interesting journey. After leaving the SUV at the dealership, I contacted the client advisor to find out how soon the recall parts would arrive. I was expecting good news. Instead, I was told 6 weeks. 6 weeks. My heart sank. I immediately started doing the math. If the parts would take 6 weeks to arrive, and the actual repair could take another week or two, depending on what they find, I could potentially be without my vehicle for 7 or 8 weeks. That was not what I had expected at all. I had been thinking that the entire process would probably take a maximum of 4 weeks. But apparently, God was saying, no, that's your plan, not mine. And honestly, I was disappointed. I began wondering, could I have done something differently? Could this repair have been completed sooner? I reminded myself that I had first contacted the dealership on Monday, July 6. If the repair process had started then, there was a good possibility that everything could have been completed by the end of August. But for whatever reason, the earliest appointment I got was July 31st. And now here I am. As I sat there thinking about everything, a Bible verse came to mind. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Proverbs 19 and verse 21. That verse really ministered to me. From the beginning, I had asked God to guide this recall process. I asked Him to take control and let His will be done. If I truly believe that God has answered my prayer, then I have to trust Him even in this perceived delay. I may not understand why it has happened, but I believe He can use it for His purpose. Am I happy about the time frame? No. But can I change it? No. What can I do? Trust God to guide me through the process. I don't need to ask Him why. He sees what I cannot see. He knows what I do not know. And since I have asked Him to direct my path, I have to trust that the path He has chosen is the best one for me. That begs the question, what do I do now? Well, I have to adjust my plans, definitely. But how? I decided to look at the situation practically. I explored different ways of carrying out my daily activities without my SUV. Then I weighed the pros and cons of each option and looked for the one that made the most sense for my situation. What were the options? One option was to rent a car. That would certainly give me the freedom and convenience I am accustomed to. But it would also be expensive. And since I don't know exactly how long I will be without my vehicle, the cost could add up quickly. Another option was to ask the dealership to provide a loaner or a rental vehicle. I considered it, but honestly, I believe that the request would be rejected. My engine had not failed, and based on my experience trying to get the recall appointment, I had little confidence that asking for a loaner would get me a positive response. I felt it might be a waste of time. A third option was public transportation. Taxis and buses are readily available in my area, and I live relatively close to the town center. It seemed to be the most practical and economical option. Once I accepted the reality that I would have to change my plans, finding an alternative was not difficult. I began exploring how I could effectively manage my situation. Instead of focusing on what I had lost, which is the convenience of having my SUV, I began focusing on how to navigate this unplanned situation. And in the process, I began to see God's love, wisdom, and provision. Let me explain. Right now, I am on summer break and I'm not doing a lot of commuting. Where I live, the transportation system is actually quite good. Although I don't have my vehicle, I am not stranded. Navigating life without my vehicle for the month of August is actually looking quite manageable. But what about September when I return to work? My workplace is quite some distance from home. Without my ride, I will definitely have to leave home about an hour earlier to make sure I get there on time. Thankfully, we have premium buses that come into our community Monday through Friday to pick up passengers, and they also provide drop offs in the evenings. And yes, I will probably get home 1 or 2 hours later than I normally would. These seem to be the major inconveniences. But what are the positives? I won't be sitting behind the steering wheel in traffic. I won't have to deal with the stress of congestion. I won't be buying as much gas. I won't be paying tolls. And the bus fare is much cheaper than the cost of driving. There is another benefit I hadn't really considered before: exercise. Part of my journey will involve walking, so I will be getting more physical activity. And there is something else. I will probably interact with more people. I may have opportunities to window shop. I might even do a little actual shopping. And perhaps most importantly, I will have more time to pray, observe people, and share the gospel when the opportunity arises. No, isn't that interesting? The same situation that initially disappointed me is beginning to excite me. Nothing about my situation has changed. The repair is still delayed. I still don't have my ride. I still have to find another way to get to work. But something has changed: my perspective. God has given me the wisdom to see the positives in my situation and the grace and peace to accept what I cannot change. Friends, when we pray, sometimes God doesn't immediately change our circumstances. Instead, He changes our perspective. He gives us peace. He helps us see our situation realistically. He helps us adjust when our plans have to change. And He reminds us that our plans are not always His plans. I must admit, I am looking forward to September. I don't know exactly what the next few weeks will bring. I don't know how the recall repair will unfold. But I know the one who is directing my path, and that is enough for me. Thanks so much for watching. If you have been encouraged by this video, kindly consider subscribing and sharing. God bless you.